Hi guys, welcome to my channel. It is your girl Honey. I know this is just a candid moment, like it's just one of those days. I've not posted for a while, so I thought I would just do a very quick live and then post it and be on my merry way. But this week has been hectic. I've done a lot of synastry readings for clients, and the theme was 8th house synastry. So I was like, let me just do a video, just do a quick video and post it. And I noticed I had done a lot of 8th house synastry videos or even 8th house stuff anyway. So why not? So people, before we even get into that, actually, make sure you guys check the pinned comment in the comment section below. I have links available. I've got articles there. I have my website there. You can click it, honeysastro.com. You can find me there. Social media handles are there as well. But yeah, anyway guys, we've got to talk a little bit about this 8th house synastry. The 8th house is the house of death, rebirth, crisis, trauma, transformation. It's other people's resources, joint finances, inheritances, taboo subjects. It's also the house of power, control. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest fan of the 8th house synastry. I'm not huge, I'm bang on it. And the thing is, a lot of people will come to me and they're very excited. Oh my God, we've got 8th house synastry, da da da. And it's very rare that I see it to be really good. Not that it's terrible, like, oh my God, you guys break up. But I do look at it and I'm like, this is difficult. The reason why I feel that way is because it's usually one-sided. When you think about the 8th house, it's the house of control. It's the house of manipulation, intensity, but also deep transformation. Now, I'm in a relationship where I am the planet person in someone's 8th house, and they have their Pluto aspecting my sun as well. And what's crazy is whenever there is 8th house synastry, you're likely to have Pluto involved in the contacts as well. And that kind of gives off the theme to your relationship, especially if you have, I call it Plutonic relationships. And Plutonic relationships are very, very karmic, but it's deep and it's transformative and it's very difficult to let go. It's not one of those things where, yeah, you know what, we'll be together forever and it's going to be healthy. There's a lot of unhealthy things that happen in that relationship. This is the toxic couple, okay? Not me. However, there are some issues, but not me, okay? But yeah, this couple can be toxic. If your planets sit in your partner's 8th house, you, my friend, are being taken on a journey. And when I say planets, I'm also talking personal planets: Sun, Moon, Mercury, Mars, Venus. These planets in particular are heavily felt and personally affected. So when you think about those planets in this house, in synastry, the house person is putting you through a journey. And a lot of the time, the planet person can feel like the house person is preventing the expression of that planet. So it could be in terms of Venus being here. You might have gone into the relationship feeling beautiful, feeling gassed about how you look, your money's gone up, you feel good. But dating them, they make you feel like you can't focus the same on money. They make you feel like you can't be romanced. Or let's say they use that pleasure of Venus against you, and it isn't always a conscious thing from the house person. It could be just how they are. And they might think, yeah, you know what, you think you're too nice, but I'm not going to compliment you too much, or I'm not going to make you feel good, or I'm not going to pleasure you the way that you want to be pleasured. The same goes for the sun. Even in my case, the sun being in here can be very diminishing in terms of your career. The house person can make you feel like, well, your career is not where it's supposed to be, or your career needs to go through a change. And I'm going to put you through things in life that make you have to change your career. Manipulate the situation. Because remember, the house person is putting the planet person through these changes, but it can also be manipulation. Maybe they want you in a certain type of way. You know, if you're dating someone who has these expectations of you, they may not come forth and tell you, yeah, I want you to be this way. And no, they might do things to put you in that position. So you may not be earning as much money anymore. You may have always thought you were very emotionally secure, but now you're feeling a little bit insecure. And it's like, you may not have done something directly to them, but there's something about you, which is the planet that sits in their 8th house, that they are making you transform. And that's why we see the planet person goes through a major transformation. No, let me just say this. Because for some people, that feeling of someone else being in control can feel good. Some people like the fact that, oh yeah, you know, he wants me home by 9 p.m. and he's like this and some people like that feeling. And if the relationship was to end, that planet person tends to feel like, oh, I like that feeling of having someone in control. I feel a bit lost now. That's something that I found to be quite common as well, especially if there is like in conjunctions to Pluto. This can be like a natal, or even, it doesn't matter, natal or synastry. Pluto in conjunct Venus is where I see someone likes that feeling of like there being power and control. But another thing as well is people are trying the planet person can also fight back, because after a while the planet person can clock on and think, hang on a second, like, you know, are you trying to control me? And the planet person goes through a period of transformation, but they are becoming powerful because they've been put through an array of different experiences whilst being in the 8th house person's the house person's 8th house, the person's 8th house. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. The planet person will eventually, oh, what's going on here? I see what's going on. And they become powerful. And once the relationship reaches a point of consciousness, right, the planet person sees what the house person is doing. The planet person may call up the house person, but the planet person has a choice. I can take this power that I have, you know, discovered and go out there and live my life, or I'm going to choose to stay and constantly fight back with this person. 12th house, I you know what's so mad? The 12th house is constantly in my head. It's always in my head. The 8th house is the house of psychology, you know, counseling. And I like to see a couple who go through couples therapy, couples counseling, because the house person needs to learn so much more about how they are treating the planet person. And most of the time they have no idea. No idea. And once they become aware, it's down to that person to make these changes to encourage the house person to feel more safe. But also, it's very hard to let go, because the planet person feels very exposed to the house person. The house person considers the planet person for who they are. And the planet person likes that feeling. Ooh, I see who this person is. You know, there's no secrets here. They like that feeling. And that's why when you know you have a little bit of control, where you know the planet person inside out, because they don't hide, there's no hiding. They are exposed. That's very hard to let go of when you know you have an ounce of control. So when we're looking at the longevity of an 8th house synastry sort of relationship, Once these people break up and break apart, we see a major change in the planet person, more so than the house person, unless Pluto is involved as well. But we see transformation in terms of, they become more powerful, more psychologically aware of their situation, of what's happened in the past and how not to go back to that again. The house person wants that same feeling back, wants to feel like there is an element of power, there's an element of control. The planets that come into this house, again, personal planets, Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, all personal planets in this house, right? Those planets in that house will depend on how that house person is trying to control you. Like I said, with the Sun, it's linked to career, self-expression. This is the house of the hidden. So there's something about hiding the natural self-expression of the Sun here and changing that. We also see the Moon here. The Moon becoming feeling emotionally manipulated. Lots of emotional highs and lows, and never quite feeling comfortable or completely safe. When you think about Venus or Mercury being here, Mercury is communication and processing information. The Mercury person may feel as though they can't communicate or say what's on their mind because they're being manipulated mentally. Like, what is that manipulation called? I forgot what it's called. But gaslit. Being gaslit a lot. And just mind fucking with the Mercury person. When you think about Venus, which is your money, relationship desires, self-esteem. The Venus person feeling as though, damn, like, I came into this relationship feeling confident and like I'm pretty, and now I don't feel like I'm confident or pretty. Or they withhold ways to make me feel good about myself. They might also play around with your money, hiding money, things like that. When it comes to Mars being a motivation, drive, temperament, reaction, response, they might do things to get a reaction out of you. Mars in this house I feel like any personal planet in this house is very, very passionate and very, very intense. It's an intense attraction. But with Mars, there's a sexual dominance about it. So when it comes in here, the house person might even use sex as a way to, and this can go either way, but use sex as a way to manipulate or feel powerful. Like, well, I'm not sleeping with you until you make me breakfast, or do you know what I mean? Like, sex can be used as a tool here, or even a weapon, okay? But I'm not the biggest fan of it, but it does have its positives, because when it comes to the 8th house, it's depth. So the relationship has to have it's not superficial. It's got to have a lot of depth in order for it to survive. But we see a couple who are really having to learn psychologically about each other. And when I say it's one-sided, the house person isn't going through the major changes in the same way as the planet person. So the planet person benefits so much more in the long run because they go through the change psychologically. In the process, it may not be so nice, but once you've gone through that awareness, it becomes easier, and you can actually see, yeah, this is actually not too bad for me. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I say I'm not the biggest fan of 8th house synastry, just because there's a lot of power, manipulation, and control. Even if the house person isn't deliberately, directly doing something, there's an element of it in the relationship. And let's just talk about what I mean by that as well. 8th house can also link us to money. Your partner could be someone who hides money from you, who is very secretive. They can be secretive. They can do things and not tell you where they're going. 8th house synastry, 8th house can also be obviously sex, intimacy, psychological. There can be a lot of themes surrounding that in your relationship, and your the house person can have the upper hand with that. So that's something to just think about when you're dating people. I'm not saying, oh, you should avoid it or never date someone who's got their planets in your 8th house or vice versa, whatever. What I'm saying is we have to experience these things in life to really understand more about what we like, what we don't like, but also it puts us in positions to evolve, essentially. So, yeah, like I said, not the biggest fan of 8th house synastry, but it is what it is. Okay. Bye bye.